Geek Out! After the Manhattan murders, the FBI decides to get involved in hunting down and killing Jason Voorhees. They track him down to Camp Crystal Lake, set an ambush that leaves him blown to pieces, and cart him off for examination. But things start going awry from there. The coroner, seemingly possessed, consumes Jason's heart and begins murdering people much like Jason would. And what of this Creighton Duke fellow? So, hey, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Long Night at Camp Blood. I, as always, am your host, Chris Nolan, and with me, pulling the hat trick, getting the turkey and bowling, if you will, here for his third appearance, my good friend Jake Bezek.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, no problem. So, fun fact, last episode we had our good friend Mickey DeVito.
Mickey DeVito, as I've always said for years.
Who one of the first things out of his mouth was like, I can't believe that all these years I've been pronouncing Jake's last name wrong because for whatever reason I call you Jake Bezek.
Yeah.
Even though it's Bozic.
Bozic, that's correct.
Yeah. And he was like, and I was like, oh, no, you've been pronouncing it right. I do it because I'm a dick or whatever.
Not that it matters.
But yeah, but that's why we call him DeVito.
DeVito, yeah.
So this is your third time.
Yes, it is.
This is the second time that you've been here for a movie called The Final Anything.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm still here, because I thought the one I did, the final chapter, was it.
Yeah, no, that was your first time.
Yeah, and I've done two since.
Yeah, so this is the final Friday.
So this is the last Jason movie, right?
Yeah, this is the last in the series of Friday, next Friday, and Friday after next.
Yes.
This is the final
Friday.
Friday.
The end. This is the final, okay.
Yeah, written by Ice Cube.
Yeah.
So this is the first Friday the 13th movie I had ever seen.
Which must have confused the shit out of you, like down the road, because he's not in this very much.
Although not the least appearance of Jason
least
in
screen
any
time.
movie. Yeah, at least screen time, because he's not even in the first one.
True.
And New Beginning isn't technically him, or not even realistically him, but at least it still has the hockey mask and stuff like that. But yeah,
this one's like, it's established. It's not the first one. It's well established,
and he's possessing people.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's but it's not though, because I mean, like, one of the things you like is the visual.
Yeah,
of Jason.
You like the hockey mask.
Although I don't like the look of him in this one.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
it's all bloated. And
I don't know if they're trying to go for like his mask has now grafted with his face kind of thing. Like, it looks like it's just one big fat head.
Yeah, well, that's basically it. It basically looks like it's all just one thing until the end when the mask comes off.
Yeah,
as he's being dragged to. Spoilers: Jason goes to hell.
Yeah, it's funny. This is you do not see his face in this.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
This is the first Friday the 13th where you do not see Jason's face.
Because I do not like his face at all in the New Blood, right?
Yeah.
And then the final Friday, still, it's not that great.
Yeah. And
better than.
And I don't think they show it in any of the subsequent sequels, of which there are none because
there are none,
it's the final
the
Friday.
end.
So that makes sense that they wouldn't show it. But this is the first one I saw. I remember a very striking poster, going to the movie theater, seeing it, and being like, oh, it's terrifying. It's the hockey mask, flames in the background. The first time you really see color in a Jason poster, and then the creepy worm thing.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense
until
you see the movie, and then it doesn't make sense there. Yeah. Before we watched it, because we sat down and watched it before we're recording.
I'd never seen this before.
This is the first time you've seen this.
Correct.
This is probably like the fifth time I've seen
Jesus.
it. Yeah. Probably not even. It for sure at least the third, because I saw it when it probably first came to video. I don't think I ever saw it in the theaters. It's only 8 when it came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I saw it sometime around when it was on VHS, or maybe when it was on TV or something like that. I bought the DVD like 10 years ago, saw it then, and then saw it tonight. So 3 times at least. But yeah, I remember. Actually, oddly enough, I just remembered this. This movie spurred the first fan fiction I ever wrote.
Oh, really?
Of which I have not written that much. I don't fan fiction too much, but for whatever reason, I wrote a Jason Goes to Hell fan fiction. Only got 5 pages into it, but basically it was just like me trying to rewrite from memory the story.
Yeah.
Because I remember Duke being in it, and I remember the newscast right at the beginning talking about it. But because I was an idiot, I just had that news anchor killed off while he was on the air. And then it cuts to the diner where they're watching it, and they don't even react to the person being killed on air. Yeah. Oh, man, if I could find that. I wrote it on a typewriter.
Oh, classy.
Because my mom had a typewriter.
Very classy.
Yeah. So probably will never find those. Spelled Voorhees different ways each time it was written.
Well, that's in the spirit
of
how he looks different in every single movie.
There you go. Yeah, it's just a code name, just like James Bond.
Yeah,
that's why Jason is played by a different actor.
Yeah, when Jason's wife dies in one of the other movies, and
he's just reflecting. He's just reflecting on like, oh man, that sucked for that other Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the first, and I guess only, Friday the 13th movie of the 90s, right? Was Jason X 90s?
I don't know.
We'll find out next episode when we talk about Jason X.
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
It's not one of the Friday the 13th movies, that's for sure.
That's for damn sure.
But so this is at the very least, this is the first Friday the 13th movie of the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It was made in 1993, released on August 13th.
Ooh. So I had just turned 7?
Sure.
I just turned 7.
Yeah.
I had to count real quick.
About a 4-year gap since Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh.
And this is the first Friday the 13th movie produced by the New Line Cinemas, because they had they had acquired the rights to produce it, essentially. After Paramount was like, you know what? Maybe we don't need to make any more of these movies.
Yeah. It
has a runtime of 88 minutes, which is 12 minutes shorter than the last film. So basically, it's Jason Takes Manhattan without Manhattan.
And no flying V's, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Damn.
Written by Jay Hewley and Dean Lorey, with a story by credit from Adam Marcus, who is also the director of this movie. This being his second feature film as a director. First feature, fun fact, was My Boyfriend's Back. If anyone's seen that movie, it's pretty funny. It's a funny zombie love comedy.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's like what was that movie? Warm Bodies.
Yeah,
but good.
Shots
fired.
Not seen either of those, so I'll take your word.
I actually do recommend My Boyfriend's Back. It's pretty funny. Kid dies, like a high school kid dies, and like right after a girl agreeing to go to like prom with him or something like that, and then comes back and just kind of goes back to school, and everyone's like, this is weird, but okay,
Yeah.
And he has to live life with the hunger of human flesh. It's pretty funny. It's been years since I've seen it, so I'm misremembering things like crazy, but it's good. It's good. Anyway, and then also produced by Sean S. Cunningham, and people might remember that name because he was the director, and I think he has a writing credit for the first Friday the 13th movie. So it's his first time back in the saddle since the first movie. Also, producer credit to Debbie Hayne Cass. Oh shit. I do not know where it was filmed. I fucked
Crystal
up.
Lake.
Well, yes, they actually have like the actual location.
Yeah.
Usually I research where, but I had to jump around to different places for information on this one. Wikipedia is where I usually do like the bulk of my my learning on this stuff, and they were pretty scarce except for the plot. The plot was like super detailed on the Wikipedia page, but everything else was not so much, but had a budget of only $3 million.
Damn.
One of the lowest in the entire franchise.
Damn, that's weird because there's a lot of gore. You figured like some of the prosthetic effects and whatnot would cost some money.
Yeah, but grossed almost $16 million.
What?
$15.9 million.
Jesus.
At the time, New Line Cinema's largest release.
Holy shit.
And
That's crazy.
I think based on like budget to gross earnings, probably still their biggest earner. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's almost 6 times the budget back. So what do we remember happening in this movie?
I remember the beginning being kind of fun.
Yeah, the beginning was very traditional. Jason movie,
but then it kind of jumps into she was an agent the whole time, and the FBI having a very fun time blowing him to pieces.
Yeah, so it starts out with a misdirect to the audience.
Yes,
we are in Jason's shoes for the opening scene. There's a lovely young woman comes to a cabin in the woods, by Joss Whedon.
Yes.
And goes to take a shower, and the power goes out. She's like, "Oh no, what's going on? Oh, it's Jason!" And then gets chased for a little bit in her towel.
Yes,
and then spotlights kick on, and oh my god, the FBI! They're shooting him and dropping bombs behind him.
Yeah. Also, aren't they in a circle shooting at him?
Yes,
that's dumb.
Yeah, that's why they're paid the big bucks.
But, all expert marksmen.
Yeah.
And they blow him to literal pieces because you see his head floating in the wind. And then
and his heart is somehow perfectly separated from the rest of his body.
And you see it beat its last beat.
Yes. It takes a while for it to beat its last beat. And then out in the boonies, not the boonies, but out pretty far away in the woods, you see Creighton Duke. Just like, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And you're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. I asked you at one point during this movie, because I have not seen every Jason movie. Like, I've actually, maybe now, actually, you know what? No, wait. The one you were talking about where it's not really Jason the whole time. Mm-hmm. Which one's that one?
That is New Beginning.
I don't think I've ever, that's the only Jason movie I haven't seen now.
Yeah. That's fine.
But I was like, is this guy an established character? Because later on, he's like, remember me? And you're like, nope, this is the first and only movie he's in.
This is the only.
So I just assumed he was some like fan favorite or something.
Wannabe Van Helsing.
Yeah, seriously.
Nope. Tommy Jarvis is
that's right. Tommy Jarvis
is the established character that I guess would be like if you wanted Creighton Duke to be a character like that, it would have been Tommy Jarvis. Mm-hmm. But they didn't.
I don't think so.
And then what happens? So they take him to be autopsied.
Mm-hmm.
And the coroner eats his heart.
Yes.
Seemingly for no reason.
That was there's a great thing where the guy who's eating the heart like really goes for it.
Yeah.
Like at first, like damn, but then you realize as he's biting, like in one shot, he's not biting anything, and then it cuts to like it looks like barbecue. You know what I mean? Like I hope whatever it wasn't too gross.
Yeah.
But he really goes for it on that, and yeah, it's just kind of this like overly long. Oh, and then also we should probably say too, like we watched the unrated version.
Yes.
I don't know. Again, I don't know what the major differences are. You know, Chris would tell me a couple times here and there for certain deaths. I could kind of put 2 and 2 together too with some of the real violent stuff. But like, it's overly long scene of him like roaring. Yeah. You know, it's just like I was hoping like Jason was like gonna like rip out of the guy or something.
Right.
But then it just he goes on a his
just possesses his body.
Yeah.
Wears it like a coat.
And then I was like, oh no, because like I got this confused with New Beginning. Like I thought that like this was the kind of like there was that movie where it's not really Jason all the time. I didn't realize there was kind of technically 2 of those. But yeah, he just goes on this killing spree and then has to basically transfer this worm, which again, like I am no obviously Jason like expert, but that has to be like a super hated point in the Jason fandom.
I would believe so. I haven't gone too far in depth. We should ask the Phones brothers what they think.
Because that's really,
especially Chad.
Yeah,
because like see what they have to say.
It's really I mean, look, this
is the first and only time it's ever been featured. In
and
the
it
series.
Really kind of makes the whole Jason thing stupid. Like I don't. I mean, full disclosure, I did not like this movie. Like there's some deaths and some like gory special effects that I really liked. But out of the 3 I've done, like this one, not good. Not so good. Really not good. Because like the other, like it's like in the final chapter and New Blood, it's just some interesting characters. Like some people you liked, you rooted for. This was like none of that.
Yeah.
Because like even I know we just watched it. I can't remember most of their names, but like
I don't remember any of their names.
But like.
If it weren't for the fact that I have a list of people's names who die in this movie, I'd have no idea what any of their characters' names are.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but you don't care about like anybody in this movie.
No, I don't.
And I some people maybe you could say that like some people are like I don't care about anybody in any of the movies, just Jason. But like so expendable and like you don't give a shit about anybody. You don't feel anything's like I know I'm making this sound like way more complicated than they are, but like they're earned or anything. Like it's just really like.
I usually have a list of like who deserved to die, who doesn't deserve to die. I didn't bother doing that with this one.
Yeah, that's
like,
funny.
The previous movies, like part of it is like since I've been watching this, like I'm getting to the point where I'm just like fucking kill people already, like like because I'm being like desensitized to it.
Yeah.
But also at the same token, like the writers aren't trying hard enough to make me care about these characters.
Yeah.
So like I'm just like whatever. They're not even people.
If I had to do that, who didn't deserve to think, like I guess the blonde waitress who like impales them while saying go to hell and then gets her head squished, like I guess her, like because she's not like an asshole, right? Like like the diner, and I guess the boyfriend, like he's kind of a weirdo, like the little kind of like guy's always eating Cheetos,
the tiny Dana Carvey.
I guess. I mean, he's kind of like the comic relief.
The mom, the
mom,
the Sarah Connor.
Yeah, the Sarah Connor. Well, and she's a Voorhees too, right?
Yeah. So she deserved to die.
Yeah. But I mean, just really just didn't care for the movie. I mean, I will say something that I thought was lacking in New Blood that this movie has is the more kind of slasher gore special effect deaths, and maybe it's because we were watching the unrated. But there's some really good. I think there's some really good effects in here.
I would be interested to watch the rated R version with you now that you've seen the unrated version.
Yeah.
But like, even I don't want to watch this movie again for a while.
Not a fan of this. Not a fan of this one.
It's funny because for the longest time I was like, oh yeah, this Friday the 13th, like because it was the only one I had seen for a while, because I was like, I don't want to watch some stupid movie from the 70s.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason in my head I was like, it's either the one that was made this year or like all the other ones are like 20 years old. It's like half of them were made in the last like 5 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a while before I saw the back catalog of stuff before this. But yeah, so yeah, he possesses people, he kills some people. There are some creative deaths.
Yes, sir.
The campers, the running through with the spike, slicing her in half.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen in the R-rated version.
That was a wonderful effect.
Yeah, in the R-rated version, it is just impaling, and then it cuts to the dude's face, and he's like, "Whoa!" But in the unrated version, you see Jason pull up, and it's it does the T-1000.
Yeah. Do we see that dude die?
We do not. He's killed off screen.
Okay.
Apparently, his head was crushed. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't know how his head got crushed.
Because the death of the girlfriend was so kind of intense that I totally forgot that if he immediately stabs him after. I can't remember because I was like, oh shit, like that was a, because like most of the Jason stuff I've seen, there's deaths here or there, but like that was pretty fucking brutal. There's another thing. It's my favorite death, but it's not necessarily at the hands of Jason. I guess not technically. Is the sheriff that when he transfers the Jason worm to dickhead case files guy or whatever, he melts.
Yeah,
and that effect was amazing.
Yeah, that was some Hellraiser shit.
Yeah, it was. Like I think we were both thinking that, where he starts melting, then his face gets stuck to the wall and it like sticks there like glue. It's kind of gross, and then his jaw just falls off from his skeleton head. Yeah. His skull, and then he just kind of is like blah, passes out. But like that whole like melting effect was really well done. I said, there were some really good effects in the movie when the super young cop gets his head like throat slit, and like even bigger like Jason worm with arms crawls out of his neck. Very thing like. So there was some pretty good.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, "Hey, there's your The Thing moment."
Yeah, because even the mouse, like, kind of like the guy's head is kind of.
You gotta be fucking kidding me!
It's just
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, people die.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some memorable moments?
Besides those deaths,
I always enjoyed the douchey TV guy when he's possessed by Jason.
He gets
the diner scene. Yeah. He like clocks the woman in the mouth, and her chin just like goes up into her mouth.
Yeah.
That's always been a memorable death for me.
Also, I was bummed you don't see the remnants of the guy's face getting fried. Like you kind of do, but not really.
That's weird. Like so, that was something that popped into my brain too. Like I remember like him pulling dude up, and you seen like fried face
because you see like a side of it.
I don't know if that was just me being a child and being like, oh!
Yeah,
or if like that's legit something that's in the movie that we somehow didn't see.
Another good effect that we did see was when the first kill of the possessed coroner, when he kills, I guess the guy who was the writer. Yeah. Of the movie.
Oh yeah, one of the writers is also the assistant coroner. Who forgot all of his lines.
That's so weird. That's so funny to me and kind of weird.
Yeah. Like he's credited for like writing that scene.
Yeah, he's just nervous, I guess. But he gets like stabbed in the neck or whatever, right? But then he also gets his face like slammed into like the grate. Yeah, and it's like his face is all like grated through like the skin and stuff. That was a good effect. But really though, like I don't know, there's at least someone in the Jason movies that I've seen where like you're kind of rooting for, or is kind of like somewhat of a fleshed out character. Yeah. And this one, like you don't even really meet Jessica, right, until like halfway through the movie. Pretty
much.
And then you kind of forget, like you think, oh,
I forgot
Diana's going to be the main person, and then she dies, and
then Vicky, the waitress that you were talking about, the Go to Hell. Like, she kind of becomes that character for a hot minute, and then you're like, oh, remember Jessica? Yeah. She's a Voorhees.
And then you're like, oh, she has a baby, and then you're like, oh, wait, this guy, that Letterman jacket guy, is the dad?
Yeah. No, it was kind of a mess.
Real mess. Yeah. And then the whole, like, confrontation at the end was kind of lame. Also, they just keep falling through the fucking floor.
The house was not a well-built house.
That's fair.
Not well-maintained.
There is the nod to Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Which I never knew about. I actually never knew about that. That was referenced in a Jason movie.
Yeah. Well, so so as a bit of an aside, I think they thought that it was cool to do it, or that it was okay to do it because New Line Cinema with Freddy Krueger property had kind of a back and forth with Sam Raimi, in that in Evil Dead 2, you see the Freddy claw in the basement of the cabin, and in one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, they're watching Evil Dead 2 in like the background, and so there was that kind of like fun, like, oh, you put me in your movie, I'll put you in mine.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like they were like, oh, we could do that, and then like kind of be like, hey, look guys, we're all in the same universe, but apparently I think it was Tom Sullivan, the guy that designed the Necronomicon, was like, fuck you. I didn't give you permission to use my book.
Yeah.
So unauthorized use. And like I when I was reading about it was, like I hadn't seen the movie in a while, and I was like, oh, it's probably just like, you see it on the desk or something like that as like the camera's panning across. No, they sit on it.
Yeah,
they open it, flip it through the pages, and you're like, oh, that's the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but that and then the incorporation of Freddy's claw at the end of the movie, were all like, people were like, when they saw Freddy's claw, they were like, oh shit, Freddy vs. Jason confirmed.
Here we go.
Oh, and then people like would go back and be like, oh, the Necronomicon was in it. That means Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash confirmed.
Yeah.
And no, still hasn't happened.
No.
Probably never will happen, unfortunately. But apparently that's more Sam Raimi's fault than anything else.
Is it?
Yeah. He I don't know. I it's been a while since I've read the rumors and speculations,
that's
but
fine. I trust in Sam Raimi, so
yeah,
that's fine.
Especially when it comes to Evil Dead.
I still need to watch Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yeah,
I had the first episode was free on Vudu, and I was like, I need to watch that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Also, the comic book Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash is pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah, I highly recommend it. If you give me like 20 minutes, I can probably find it in my stash of comic books somewhere.
Nice.
Anyway, so
yes. Jason.
Yeah. So after going over budget with Jason Takes Manhattan, Paramount decided to walk away from the franchise. That means that the rights to it kind of reverted back to Phil Scuderi and his partners, who are Boston-based theater owners, who originally had the rights for it back when the first movie came out. They got Sean Cunningham back on, and then they pitched it to New Line Cinema, who the at the time head of production, Michael DeLuca, was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do a Freddy vs. Jason movie. It's gonna be awesome." But ultimately, DeLuca was like, "But Jason Takes Manhattan wasn't that great, and Freddy's Dead wasn't that great. Let's go ahead and take a step back, do a good solo film for both of them first, then maybe we'll do a Freddy vs. Jason, okay?"
Yeah.
I don't know why Michael DeLuca is from Brooklyn, but it fits, right?
Yeah, it fits.
Yeah, it sounds right. Anyway.
Well, so the next...
So this is like the third time that they've tried to make Freddy vs. Jason.
So this is the movie that was their attempt at making a good solo movie?
Yeah.
For Jason?
Yeah.
Freddy, though, was New Nightmare?
New Nightmare.
Which is great.
Yeah. And by the numbers...
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
By the numbers, this was a great success.
Well, yeah, by the numbers, absolutely.
Yeah. Looking at it in hindsight, not so much.
No.
But yeah, no, it got them the money to like actually start actively pursuing Freddy vs. Jason. They still wouldn't do it for another 10 years. And I forget, and maybe we'll figure out what that is by the time we get to Freddy vs. Jason, because yes, we are doing Freddy vs. Jason on this series. Because it's still hands down my favorite Jason movie.
It's good. Real good.
And one of my favorite Freddy movies. But yeah, so for whatever reason, they still weren't able to do it for another 10 years. But this really got the ball rolling. And originally, so I kind of mentioned this to you while we were watching it. because they name dropped Elias Voorhees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The original story, which was written by what's his name, Marcus, the guy that was the director. The original story that he had come up with was that it was a direct sequel to Part 7, The New Blood, and just completely ignored Jason Takes Manhattan, where just this unnamed man dredges Jason's body back out of the lake and performs an impromptu autopsy on him in a nearby cabin that's been kind of not retrofitted, but like kind of refitted to be a shitty lab.
Mm-hmm.
Then he eats Jason's heart, which allows him to absorb Jason's powers. And then later we find out that man is Elias Voorhees, Jason's heretofore unseen and unmentioned brother.
Of course.
And essentially the only thing that really survived from that original story was the ability for Jason to now suddenly body swap. And then the mention of Elias Voorhees. But in the movie that ultimately came out, Elias Voorhees was the name of Jason's father. Which...
yeah. Yeah.
I don't like that because I don't like naming Jason's father because it kind of fights with the cool backstory that the actress who played Pamela Voorhees came up with for Pamela.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me being like, I mean, had I not done this podcast and read her big paragraph of like backstory for Pamela Voorhees, I probably wouldn't have cared.
Mm-hmm.
But like the fact that like it's just the Jason's father is supposed to be just some dude that knocked her up and ran away. Like, so she wouldn't have taken the Voorhees name because Voorhees was her name.
Sure.
Whatever. But I like the idea of her just being like, nobody knows who the father is, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's where we got the stupid body hopping.
Oh God. So that's just I don't know why they thought that was a good idea.
I understand the desire to like, oh, we've been at this, for I don't know, a little bit over almost 14, 15 years. Mm-hmm. Let's breathe some new life into it. I mean, we've already made him a zombie. Mm-hmm. Like first couple movies, he just was really tough to kill. Now he's been killed and he's come back to life. Everything's out the window. We had a fucking telekinetic, we can do whatever we want. So like I understand like the progression, the escalation of the shit. But yeah, this was where it went.
Yeah, but I mean, is that a good idea at movie number 9?
Hey, I'm just explaining, not excusing.
Yeah. No, I'm blaming you.
That's fine. That's fair. I was 8. So, peep this on the writing. All right. Mm-hmm. So, the writing was particularly interesting, in my opinion. The original script, was penned by Jay Hughley, or Hugely, because that's how it's spelled, who at the time was best known for being a writer on Magnum P.I.
Oh, well.
That script was quickly thrown out by Sean Cunningham, saying that it was trash.
Oh God!
So they threw away a script,
mm-hmm.
and Cunningham hired this guy Dean Laurie. So those are the two guys that have like full script credit: Hughley and Laurie.
Hugh Laurie?
Yeah, exactly. Hugh Laurie wrote Jason Goes to Hell.
Okay, makes sense.
Who was the writer of My Boyfriend's Back.
Uh-huh.
I'm
curious to look up like the cover of this movie.
My Boyfriend's Back?
Yeah.
It's great. If I remember correctly, it's the kid popping out of his grave and the girl that he's in love with like laying down on top of it. And he's like in a prom tux. But so over the course of 4 days, Cunningham had Laurie write
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I'm glad that I remembered the poster.
The comedy that proves true love never dies.
There you go.
Hilarious, one of the year's most delightful surprises, CBS Radio Los Angeles.
I recommend everyone watch that instead of Jason Goes to Hell.
It says it came out in 1993 as well.
Yeah.
So that's a busy year for this.
Yeah. Well, so as I was starting to say, Dean Lorey then rewrote the script over the course of 4 days.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I saw your face.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had the name. Matthew McConaughey's in it.
Oh, really?
Matthew Fox is in it. And Philip Seymour Hoffman and Edward Herrmann, a.k.a. Rory Gilmore's grandfather.
Oh, shit. Look at that.
Richard Gilmore.
This is like tailor-made for you.
Jesus.
You really should watch it. But yeah, so the script was rewritten over the course of 4 days when Cunningham forced Lorey to write it and not leave the room that he was in until he was finished writing it. And then Louis Abernathy and Leslie Bohm were hired on for uncredited punch-up. And it was unclear as to whether it was uncredited because they didn't write enough or uncredited because they didn't want to be credited. Mm-hmm. Because apparently Bohm still ended up being credited, but was so adamant about not being given writing credit that they made up the position of executive typist for his credit in the closing credits.
Nice.
So here's, while I was doing my research, this was the weirdest but most what's the word? Weirdest fact that I came up with, but the biggest that makes sense to me. I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but to me the movie looked very weird, like just in general, not like they lit it weird or the costume department didn't have enough, big enough budget or anything like that. It overall looked weird. It kind of, I used to say that it looked a lot like it was shot for television. But this factoid that I'm about to tell you is what explained it all to me. And I don't know if you noticed this while we were watching. For whatever reason, I think because we're watching it on a DVD and I've got a fancy Blu-ray player and a fancy TV, it kind of smoothed everything out. But especially watching it on VHS, it really was apparent that this movie was shot at 22 frames per second as opposed to the typical 24 frames per second. Yeah. Here's the reasoning. So Cunningham thought that actors in general, not just these actors, but just actors in general, take too long to respond to their cues. So instead of, telling his actors to act faster or anything like that, he was just like, I'm going to make the action happen faster by cutting out 2 frames per second.
Jesus. Which
caused the audio to go completely out of sync.
Oh, Jesus.
So that made the editor's job that much harder.
God.
And they thought they had produced a 90-minute movie, but because of taking 2 frames out per second, it was only an 80-minute movie.
What the fuck? Good.
Right? What a weird thing to do.
That guy created his own problem out of pure stupidity.
Yeah. The guy that came up with the idea of having Pamela Voorhees be the killer in the original Friday the 13th movie, which was probably one of the greatest ideas in a horror movie, also came up with the dumbest idea.
That's insane to me. Yeah, it didn't seem any different to me on DVD.
Yeah, like I said, it didn't. So it's kind of, so for anyone that's ever seen it, especially with these new TVs, motion, what the fuck do they call it? Motion smoothing technology or whatever that they put on it that makes everything look like it's a weird, things don't move right. When you watch something that was shot for the BBC or something like that, and you watch it on American TV, it looks weird because they shoot at 25 frames per second, whereas we do 24 frames per second. So it kind of makes everything look kind of weird. It was similar to that. I don't know. Or if anyone saw The Hobbit at 48 frames per second, that looked fucking weird. Similar thing. Anyway, I don't know. It's that's what happens when you shoot something at 22 frames per second, but then play it back at 24 frames per second, because Projectors aren't going to switch. They're not going to switch for your fucking movie. Anyway.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. But fear not, because half the movie had to be redone in reshoots. Two of the big things was that Marcus, being the novice director he was, had a lot of scenes where there were like conversations that just dragged on painfully long. Like even some of the conversations that survive in the final film are like, what the fuck is going on in this? Why is this still? Why are they? There was that one scene between Duke and Jessica where we were like, this is a stupid conversation.
Yeah.
That was something that was good enough to stay in the movie.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, it's
and not had to get, and probably was like re-edited to be smoother than it actually was.
It is a miracle that this movie got made.
Yeah,
and that they pieced anything together, because it is really just a mess of like storylines, characters, zero motivation. It's just
And then the other big thing that had to get chopped to bits was the diner massacre, which I wish we could find the original cut of that scene, because I feel like you would love it because of your love of, what's his name?
Sam Peckinpah?
Sam Peckinpah, because originally...
The difference is that this dude is no Sam Peckinpah.
Originally, the diner massacre was an 8-minute long sequence of uninterrupted slow motion action.
I mean,
the scene that we got was like 1 minute of uninterrupted slow motion, and that was painful to watch.
Yeah.
I can't imagine watching 8 minutes.
Unbelievable.
Of it. Oh my god. So anyway,
totally unbelievable. Just ridiculous.
Right. Opening weekend, it grossed $7.6 million. And at the end of the year was number 86 in the top 100 earning films that year. I would love to see what the 14 lesser than top 100 earners were. On Rotten Tomatoes, it maintains a 24% fresh. And the main criticisms, oddly enough, Jake, you hit it right on the nail. The possessing aspect of Jason's powers were stupid.
I mean, like, and it is at the end, the worm now has arms.
Yeah.
And then it's
amphibious.
Yeah, my thing too is like,
it's like a tadpole.
If it possessed this baby, is it now just have the strength of a baby?
Is it Chucky?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the nod to Chucky then. But I mean, like,
I did recently watch The Curse of Chucky, the most recent Child's Play movie to come out, until the next one comes out, which should be sometime.
Well, how recent is that? Is the most recent
2013?
Oh, really?
Maybe 2015.
I had no idea.
Within the last couple years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
it's
crazy.
actually like,
I don't think I've ever seen an entire Chucky movie.
They are intentionally and unintentionally hilarious.
Okay.
The of Chucky movies mostly are like intentionally like comedies that just are like horrific. Except what was the one that I said I saw?
The most recent one?
Yeah.
I don't know if you gave a title for it.
Fuck.
I'm looking up Chucky movies.
Yeah. Not Legacy of Chucky, something like that. It's not Cult of Chucky is the next one coming out. But yeah, so that one, like, they actually legit tried to be like a horror movie, and I actually think it's not bad. I'm not gonna go as far as to say it's a good movie.
Sure,
but
like I said, I don't think I've ever actually seen an entire Chucky movie.
There's worse movies.
It's an interesting thing.
Yeah. Anyway, it's on the Netflix.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the unrated director's cut that we watched includes approximately 3 extra minutes of violence and nudity and gore and all the stuff that we love horror movies for. Cold open length, 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Not nearly the longest, but also not the shortest. Location takes place mostly in and around the Crystal Lake area. Timeline, Jake, the $64 million question.
Yeah.
What year do you think this movie takes place? It was shot in 1993.
Yeah.
Let's see. The last movie you were here for was The New Blood. If I remember correctly, that took place, if you want the hint.
I would love it.
That took place predominantly
Yes.
in 2001. So,
Fucking insanity.
what year do you think this movie took place in?
2008.
No.
What year?
You overshot.
Did I overshot? Because I was like, I'm gonna overshoot it. Because I'm still dumbfounded that movie supposed to take place 2001.
Yeah. Well, so I love that it didn't even try to make it look like the future.
Yeah.
Much like this one, although I'm pretty sure this one just totally neglected to acknowledge the fact that the New Blood had overshot what year it was so far. No, this one takes place in the year that I graduated high school, 2003.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Still ridiculous.
I mean, that's so insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been 2010.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No. No one had cell phones.
Jesus.
So kill count. In the movie, 21 people are killed by Jason, either by through possession or what have you. That is not the total kill count of the movie. There's just several people that are killed by other people in this movie as well. Which brings the Jason total for the series up to 104 deaths at his hand. And the overall deaths, including other people, 128.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jake.
Yes.
What was your favorite death?
Favorite death that Jason does, because just right at the bat, I think my favorite death was Melting Man.
Yeah. I count that as Jason's death because it
is the chain reaction is Jason's.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess, okay, fine. He was like shot in the head and stabbed and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's because of the strain of having Jason.
But then if you as the ringleader, and
it's my podcast,
and it's your podcast, then yes, that is my favorite.
But now that you've put that stipulation, I'm curious as to hear what your other your next favorite death.
The girl getting impaled and like ripped in half.
Okay, that works because that's my favorite death of the movie.
Yes.
Because as it was happening, I mentioned to you like as the ding young man that I was.
Yes. Young Nolan.
Yeah. When I was a young boy, my father took me to see Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
Into the city. I hate myself a little bit. That was the one that stuck out to me mostly, probably because boobs were involved in it. But like it just looked fucking cool, like this spike coming through, a person's chest.
Yeah, it was intense.
And then the added feature of it, cutting her, splitting her V, if I may. Giving her the the T-1000 treatment.
Yes.
Like that was fucking cool. So I give it up to Camper Deborah because I know these people's the characters' names.
You're very very good, very good.
I believe your guy was Josh.
Ah, okay.
Yes, later melts away after demon leaves body. What was your least favorite? What was the lamest death?
Lamest death.
And like right off the bat, I always say any off-screen death is the lamest death. So let's just take that off the table. So Kane Hodder's death off the table,
and also the boyfriend's death that we supposedly never see.
Yeah,
it's pretty. Duke
getting hugged,
hugged, and like because it's like supposed to be this big reunion that
remember me.
Yeah,
it's like no, I've never seen you.
And
before
he even
in my
gets
life.
that shot where like he gets squeezed like blah, and then he on the ground he just goes. Ugh.
Yeah,
that's pretty lame.
Okay. I'm going to go with the character's name is Ward, although you probably have no idea who I'm talking about. He is the son of the diner owner.
Yeah.
His death is that Jason breaks his wrist.
Yes.
Or I guess his forearm because it's a compound fracture.
Yeah.
And then gets thrown into the door of the diner. Diner door does not break. It barely even notices that he gets.
Yeah.
He lightly stumbles into it.
So much so that the girl on the other end doesn't even move.
Yeah. So that was his that was the only one that left me going, what?
Yeah.
That killed him?
That was a little.
Yeah.
That was weak sauce.
Mm-hmm. Killing spree.
You take too long. We got to get this 22 frames per minute.
Yeah. The killing spree starts. What I clocked the killing spree as was when Jason started killing people at the diner. Started killing people at the police station.
Yes.
So when Officer Ryan, who gets his head bashed against a locker, died at about 1 hour 7 minutes, all the way through the diner scene, concluding with is it Joey? No, concluding with Vicky, the other waitress girl, the you go to hell waitress girl, getting impaled by a barbecue skewer and head crushed by Robert, possessed by Jason. Which means that the killing spree only lasts about 7 minutes and 5 seconds.
Not even as long as the original slow-mo was supposed to be.
Yeah, not even as long as
so that means it would have been 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Survivors, got Jessica, Steven, the boyfriend with glasses, who almost got dragged to hell.
Yeah.
And presumably the baby.
Yeah.
Although, when they walked off into the sunset... I just realized
we don't see the baby.
Yeah, the silhouette is just the two of them.
Is the baby just left in the house?
I guess so. In Jason's crib.
Well,
shit. You heard it here first. They abandoned that baby.
Jesus.
Who plays Jason? Kane fucking Hodder,
baby.
3 out of 4 times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although barely, I mean, you're gonna get the guy who is synonymous with Jason to barely be Jason. Weak sauce.
Yeah. I guess that's why they gave him 2 other roles in this movie.
I guess so.
And then what is the evolution of Jason? Well, he's got a swole face.
Yeah.
Swollen head. Biggest thing, he can now swap bodies, apparently.
He's got some hair.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of hair. And can only be killed by another Voorhees, apparently.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, that's why he hasn't died yet, right? Except he did die.
Yeah, multiple times.
But okay.
Yeah.
But that's why he didn't really die those times, right?
Yeah.
Not because of lightning.
Yeah, because it wasn't a Voorhees.
Yeah. Anyway. Weapons used. An autopsy probe, a pencil, a finger, straight razor, metal post, car door, knife sharpening pole, a locker, other people's heads, diner door, a diner counter, deep fryer, a disembodied elbow, and a hug. I already mentioned that I didn't go through and choose who deserved and who didn't deserve to die because nobody cared. How was the killer, a.k.a. Jason, defeated? A mystical dagger and a sidekick. Not the phone, but an actual...
they do the Jean-Claude Van Damme in Expendables 2.
Yeah. I think that's why I liked that scene in Expendables 2 so much.
Because it reminded you of this movie. You just yelled, Jason goes to hell!
Yeah, because that kid that they did that to, he went to hell.
Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah. He got sucked into hell in that. I don't know if you saw that. It was in the director's cut.
No, I didn't watch the director's cut of Expendables 2. The best Expendables.
And then how does Jason come back? He doesn't, because he is not only dead, but he has been dragged to hell. Now, there was something that I wanted to talk about before we wrapped up. But I did like the starting with like the FBI thing. Like when I was first getting into these movies, I always was like, why the hell does the FBI suddenly care?
Yeah.
And then when I was doing research for these podcasts, I found this website, which is where I get all of my timeline information from. It's called the timeline of Friday the 13th.
Fair enough.
But like they had this little blurb at the end of Jason Takes Manhattan after the Manhattan murder, which is where I got the opening line of the little synopsis that I wrote. But like, so after the Manhattan murders, the FBI realizes Jason Voorhees is a threat and begins to track him down. They eventually locate him back at Camp Crystal Lake moments later, and then cue the boom 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 boom, killing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little sick. Usually my sound effects are a lot better, but yeah. So I liked how, like, hopefully that's what they were actually going for and stuff like that. Not just like, well, we wanted a cool opener, but like, I would really like to believe that the writers were like, well, yeah, now that like people in Manhattan, like the diner guy who was supposed to be Jason.
Oh yeah.
Who, I don't know why I was pointing at you like you remember that, because it was Mickey that was on that episode.
Well, I think I've heard about it, right?
Yeah. Originally an actor, and if you guys heard last episode, you heard me and Mick talk about this, but there's an actor in Manhattan, in Jason Takes Manhattan, that was originally supposed to be Jason in that installment, and then they got Kane Hodder back. So to throw him a bone, they let him be in the movie. He's just thrown into a mirror and presumably dead. But he is the one that comes back later in Freddy vs. Jason to play Jason in that one. Which, one, shame that Kane Hodder didn't get to be Jason in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
But cool that the people that made Freddy vs. Jason had the wherewithal to like be like, hey, you were supposed to be Jason.
That's like when Pierce Brosnan was supposed to be Bond, but Remington Steele kept him from being Bond, and then they remembered when they were doing GoldenEye.
Yeah.
And they let him be
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
I know your weakness. Still my favorite Bond movie.
It's pretty damn good.
Yep. But so I kind of liked how they, tried,
Yeah.
So there you have it. That's the first Friday the 13th I've ever seen. It's probably one of the worst in the series. Just because they tried stupid shit. Next month, I've struck a deal to have. Well, I mean, next month has a Friday the 13th in it, guys. So I'm going to be releasing the next episode on Friday the 13th. Although there is no next episode because this was the final Friday.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
But keep your ears peeled I have a cool sign off and I've completely forgotten it. Something about sitting around the campfire, and we'll see you next summer.
Sit around, sing Kumbaya, right? Sing Kumbaya.
We'll talk about Jason X next summer, and by next summer I mean October 13th. See you later. Bye, Jake.
Bye, Chris.
This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.